Hello everyone, Roger Weafer here. I once watched 4 Australians play poker. They were looking for a 5th person to sit in. They asked me if I'd like to join. I said, well, I'd love to, but I seem to be experiencing just a bit of double vision. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I've watched you deal and shuffle, but everywhere I look, all I see on the cards are backs. I mean, there's a back where the back ought to be, I guess, but there appears to also be a back where the front ought to be. He said, well, I hate to tell you this, but it may simply be a matter of perspective. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, as you know, we are known to live in the land down under. It may simply mean that we have a different perspective from the Americans. So he started looking through the pack. And as he removed some cards, he asked me if I had ever played Australian poker. I said, I don't think so. He said, well, if you ever had, you would certainly remember the experience. So there we are. 5 cards. Let's straighten up just a little bit. I mean, it's not like I'm OCD, but there's no sense in being messy about it. He said, now if I show you this card, what do you see? I said, backs. He said, that's the ace of spades, the king of spades, the queen of spades, the jack of spades, and the 10 of spades. I said, well, that is curious, because all I saw are backs. He said, well, time for a trip down under. Lie on the floor, and you'll gain a different perspective. I said, okay, whatever you say. So he showed me a card, and he said, what does this card appear to be? I said, well, it looks a whole lot like the 10 of spades to me. He said, that's because it is. A second card. He said, what is that one? I said, that one looks like the jack. How many cards does that leave? I said, well, that should leave 3 altogether. He said, well, that proves that Americans are smarter than they look. I said, I resemble that remark. He said, you're welcome. A third card, and sure enough, it appeared to be the queen of spades. That left just 2 cards. One, the king of spades. We only had one change to see, I guess. I was beginning to see the end of this. He said, so if we already have the king, and we have the queen, and the jack and the 10, what does that leave? I said, of course, that leaves the ace. He said, you are correct. With a tap, he produced the ace of spades, completing our royal flush in spades. Now, I don't know if those 4 Australians were simply pulling my leg or what, but I do know that it took 2 trips to the chiropractor to straighten out my step. See you next time, right here on Magic by Roger.